geez, what else can I do today to feel better? It didn't dawn on me until I did some work that, hey, maybe if you disconnect from you and go think of somebody you can be of service to, that might help you.
Yeah. Yeah. It never occurred to me either until I did some inner work. It never occurred to me that I might actually get more out of being of service to someone than the person I'm being of service to does. I had no idea that that's how it worked. And it's actually become my go-to for when I'm feeling overwhelmed, anxious, depressed, lonely. If I feel any kind of emptiness inside of me, the answer to that is to always reach my hand out to help somebody else. And, I have, before I awakened to that, I want to tell you a little story. Are you up for a little story?
Yes, ma'am.
This is one of the things that really clued me in. And it was it was a transformative moment in my life. I was in the grocery store shopping, right? And I bring my groceries out to my car. I put it in my trunk and I'm bringing my cart back. And out of the corner of my eye, I see this older woman struggling to put her groceries into her trunk. And I return my cart and I start walking back. And she had finished putting her groceries in her trunk. And this kind of like voice came in and said, return her cart for her. Take her cart and return it for her. And I like responded to that internally. I'm like, I don't have time to do that. But I was surprised that something was saying that to me because there was no conversation at the time going on between me and my inner self. But I said, no, basically, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And the voice got stronger. Return her cart for her. So I walk up to this woman. And again, this is before I did any of this work. And I said, can I return your cart for you? And she snaps at me. She goes, why? Because I'm old? And I said, no. I said, because God told me to. And like that came through me. That didn't come from me. That came through me. And she starts to cry. This woman starts to cry. And now I'm crying and she's crying because I'm as moved by this experience with her as she is. And I return her cart for her. I get in my car, and as I'm pulling out of the parking lot, I see her. She's coming out as well, waving to me like I'm her best friend, like she's known me her whole life. And in that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, all I did was get out of myself a little bit. And I couldn't believe the experience I had with this individual. Never seen her again. But I will never forget that experience. This had to be going back about 10 years, Charlie. 10 years. Yeah. And if we were not on a podcast, I'd be crying right now. Because I have a hard time telling that story without crying. It was that moving and that, it left that kind of impression on me. And that changed the way I thought about being of service.